Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to Skyblock News. I'm your host, Derailious, and today we're going to be going over the Lotus Atoll, which is now on the Alpha Network. Before we begin, make sure to like and subscribe. Use code RAIL on the Hypixel store for 5% off your order. And without any further ado, let's get started. To begin here today, we start on the Backwater Bayou, which has been revamped into 1.21, and you'll also note that the water is blue. That is apparently a bug. You'll also be able to notice Jonesy over here. This is the island guide. This basically is where you'll access the island's chapters system, and if you didn't see the sneak peek thread, when you complete the final set of chapters for the Backwater Bayou and for all fishing islands, you get a golden pearl. These give you buffs, which, as you can see, the Pearl of the Swamp is one of them. It gives you +1 treasure chance, and that is what you get after completing all the chapters on the Backwater Bayou. If you want to access the Lotus Atoll, though, you'll need to head underneath this waterfall, where you'll find Gilbert. Gilbert will basically be asking you for a fast travel scroll to the Backwater Bayou in order to join your crew. So you're going to need to get that for him. It costs a total of 8 busted belt buckles. You get the travel scroll, you bring it back to Gilbert, and he joins your crew. You can actually see him right here. Here is Researcher Gilbert. He actually gives you a buff, as all crewmates do. You can see this in the new ship crew section of your menu. He grants you access to the Lotus Atoll. Baja grants you 0.5 fishing wisdom, and you can see your crewmate directory down here. It will become more relevant in the future. When you first get to the Lotus Atoll, you'll notice 2 main researchers, Researcher Betty and Researcher Rebery. Researcher Betty is the island guide and goes over all of the chapters on the Lotus Atoll. If you complete the final set of chapters here, you end up getting the Golden Pearl, Pearl of the Lotus, which grants you 2.5 trophy chance. Next, if you head over to Researcher Rebery, we can see the trophy frogs on the island, of which there are 12 in total. I'll go into more detail about the frogs themselves in a moment, but I want to go over the rewards first. If you get every single frog at bronze tier or above, you get 20 Lotus, the applicant's statement accessory, and the bronze trophy frog sack. At the adept tier, or silver or above, for every trophy frog, you get 10 silver Lotus, the student studies upgrade to the accessory, the travel scroll to the Lotus Atoll, and the silver trophy frog sack. The expert tier gives you gold Lotus times 5, as well as the master's thesis upgrade. You need gold tier or above for all trophy frogs. And if you get all tiers of every single trophy frog, you get the diamond Lotus, the PhD's grimoire upgrade, and Ribbit the fish. You'll also be able to see these rewards in the Lost Rewards shop. In order to get trophy frogs, effectively you just have to fish on the Lotus Atoll. And you get different trophy frogs depending on what you're doing. For example, the common frog is caught everywhere, so you don't really need to think about it. But for the leap frog, you have to be jumping or mid-air in order to catch it. For the wetlands frog, it only is caught during rain, which happens once every 30 minutes or so on the island, and you can actually see that information by coming over to the back right part of the island and interacting with this researcher over here, Timmy, who tells you the exact amount of time between rain sessions. As you can see, it states, luckily, it'll start raining in about 26 minutes from now. Heading back over to Rebery, though, we can see the reality hopper, which we'll go over in a minute. This one's kind of weird, but give me a second. There's the exploding frog, also kind of weird. We'll go over that one later. The blessed frog, also kind of weird. I know this is 3 in a row, but trust me, the rest aren't that weird. The sea frog you catch while being underwater. The bullfrog you catch while wearing a red sweater. Another weird one. A lot of these are weird, I'm gonna be real. The tree frog you catch while standing on leaves. This one's fine. The cave frog you find in the Lotus Eater's cave. We'll go to that area in a little bit. And the highlands frog you have to catch while being in a very high location. Notably on these little miniature islands all the way up in the sky. You can get there by interacting with an NPC. You don't need any teleportation stuff or anything like that. The final type of trophy frog is the puddle jumper. This one is a little bit weird once again. It's more of a sea creature than a trophy frog by itself. I'll show you how it works. Now let's go over the Reality Hopper. So I should mention that there's a new collection as part of this update, and many of the new mobs as part of this update, the normal sea creatures, they drop this item called Lotus. Lotus is the new collection. You can find it in fishing collections, and very early on in your Lotus collection, you'll unlock Froggles. If you head over to Researcher Lily, she'll tell you that reality hoppers, which are a type of trophy frog, have been creating wormholes all over the island. If that sounds insane to you, you're a normal person. Anyway, you make the Froggles. They're not that expensive to make, all things considered. They're just a few lotuses in this O shape, but if you make them, you can see all of the wormholes on the island. Now, the wormholes look kind of similar to hotspots, except they're obviously a little bit stranger in their visual structure because they're, wormholes and they break down really quickly. This is what a wormhole looks like. These brightly colored particles pretty much flowing out of an area. If you fish in this area, you will get a reality hopper eventually. For the exploding frog, you have to, and I'm being serious here, push together a bunch of lily pads. All around the island, there will be these lily pads that are interactable by right-clicking on them. You simply have to move them together through the water, and eventually they will explode, and you will get an exploding frog. Note that the team is aware that this is a very long and painstaking process at the moment. Apparently, they might make it easier for the exploding frogs to basically be created by making these lily pads big enough. Currently, as you can see, it's slowly shrinking over time. They might reduce this effect or change it, but for now, that is how you get the exploding frog. Just make these lily pads big enough. If you want to get access to the Blessed Frog, you'll need to first look in your bestiary of all things. Here is the Lotus Guardian. This is one of the sea creatures on the Lotus Atoll, and it has a 1% chance to drop you a frog coin. And as you can see, you can throw this frog coin into the waters of Lotus Eater's Cave to gain temporary stat bonuses while on the atoll. So you have to come over to the back part of the island, you go into this area, which is the Lotus Eater's Cave. Note that you can get the cave frog here as well. You don't need to throw the frog coin in to get the cave frog, but you do need to throw the frog coin in if you want to get the blessed frog. And if you throw in enough frog coins, the Lotus Eater will beckon you. You can click on this guy, and he has something brand new. The Lily Pad Minion Upgrade Stone. There's something I haven't told you yet. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, now there is a lily pad minion added to Skyblock. It's just a fishing rod as well as a bunch of lily pads in the circle. That gets you the first tier, goes all the way up to tier 12, and tier 11 requires condensed lily pads, which is just the further upgraded form of enchanted lily pads. This is going to be absolutely incredible for Iron Man players trying to get upgraded fishing rods and just items in general that they really need in the early game. Really happy that the team decided to add this incredible minion. Probably a must-have, I've got to say. In order to get the bullfrog, you'll need to be wearing this, a red sweater. In order to make it, you need tier 2 of the Lotus collection. This unlocks you the red sweater recipe, and the recipe is not bad. It's just a few lotus, as well as some redstone dust. Literally should not take you more than 5 minutes to get all the lotuses for this item. But you can put it on, it gives you 4 trophy chance, and seems to attract bullfrogs due to its red hue. In order to get the Highland Frog, if you don't have the ability to fly around, you need to speak to Kay. Now she'll have a long and winded, I'm just kidding, she'll throw you right in the air, and boom, there we are, we're up in the sky. That is a bit of a callback to the Rift. There's also Tay here who throws you once again if you need to get back down to the island. For the last trophy frog, the puddle jumper, it acts much more like a sea creature. You have to fish for it pretty much completely actively. There's not really any other way to get this mob, but trust me, you'll know when you get this mob. It has a very interesting set of interactions. And there we go, we caught our first puddle jumper. And as you can see, this guy flies around the island, and you have to throw your fishing rod on him before his ring, I guess, turns fully green, and you'll continue to fly around the island with him as he jumps from place to place. It does take a little bit of practice getting your fishing rod properly on him every single time, but if you do it, or regardless of if you get your fishing rod on him every single time, you will get the trophy frog. As you can see, I missed there, but in a moment I will still get the reward. The reason why you would want to get him every single time caught is that you get bonus rewards for doing so. This is usually in the form of a bunch of lotuses. But as you can see, that was the puddle jumper. We've gone over everything related to trophy frogs, but what else is there to do on this island? Well, frankly, there are quite a few things you can do. First, you can focus on trying to level up your froggles. This is something that you can start doing pretty quickly by getting your lotus collection up. You unlock these silver froggles pretty quickly. This is just some silver lotus, which is just a bunch of lotuses together, and enchanted lily pads with the froggles. This makes the silver froggles. It gives you the benefit of 2.5 trophy chance when fishing in a wormhole. You can also continue to upgrade your lotus collection and get the lotus sinker recipe, which materializes lotus in your inventory whenever you catch something. As you can see, this costs a total of 16 silver lotus, as well as 32 enchanted lily pads. Moving right along, we have the gold lotus at 5,000 lotus collection, and the golden froggles at 10,000. And as you can see, this gives you 3 total fishing speed, gives you the ability high visibility wormhole helmet, allows you to get some vibes about far away wormhole locations. We'll go over what that means in a moment. You also get plus 5 trophy chance and plus 5% chance to find gold trophies. This costs the silver froggles, 2 gold lotus, and a stack of enchanted lily pads. Then we have the puddle jumper hook. This increases the chance to catch a puddle jumper by 400%, 2 gold lotuses, as well as 32 enchanted raw cod, as you can see one on the left side of my screen. You're going to want this if you want puddle jumpers. The trophy line is at 50,000 total lotus, granting you 5 trophy chance. This is a total of 6 gold lotuses to craft. At 100,000 total lotus, you get the diamond lotus recipe, which is a total of 20 gold lotus. And then we have Lotus 11. I know I've said that word so many times, but here is the diamond froggles. This gives you 4 fishing speed as a baseline, 7.5 trophy chance while fishing in wormholes, as well as a 10% chance to find gold trophies, and a 5% chance to find diamond trophies. Very, very nice helmet. You need the golden froggles, 2 diamond lotuses, and 4 condensed lily pads. So here I am with my diamond froggles and my diamond hunter gear, and you can actually see little arrows below me. This is what the diamond froggles mean by high visibility wormhole helmet. It shows you the general direction of where you can find wormholes on the island. I really like this feature. The tech is super cool. Just having the little arrows that you can see by looking down for a second. Very, very nice. There are also 3 new attributes associated with this update: the Lotus Fish Shard, the Lotum Shard, and the Tutul Shard. If you look at the Lotus Fish Shard, this goes all the way up to 5 trophy chance while in the Lotus Atoll and requires 96 shards to max out. If you want to get this one, it's really, really easy. Just go underneath the water here, take your fishing net, and throw it at all of these fish down here. Just extremely simple to get this one maxed out in a flash. If you want to get the other 2, though, it's a little bit more complicated. The Lotum Shard goes all the way up to 5% chance, more likely for trophy frogs to be gold, and requires 64 to max out. If you want to get this one, you need to find these little frogs all around the island and click them. Works the same way as it does in Galatea, where you have to click the frogs and you get a reward for doing so. So if I run around here and I get to this frog and I click him enough, I get some Lotum shards. The last one is for the Tutul. If we go over to fishing, we can see that it gives you up to a 5% chance to have trophy frogs be diamond, requiring 48 total shards to max out. This one's kind of interesting. I think people are going to like the obtainment method quite a lot. So here we have a Tutul, and if I try to hit it or attack it, it states, "The Tutul seems unbothered by you, perhaps you can befriend it somehow." Well, the answer is kind of terrible. You actually have to take some of your trophy frogs that you've collected, and you right-click this guy, and he gets bigger, and eventually he pops and explodes, and you get the Tootle shards from doing that. I thought originally it would be from, like, maybe the Lotus or something like that. No, you just have to feed them the trophy frogs, and they pop. That's crazy. There are also quite a few other items to go over related to the Lotus Atoll sea creatures. Starting with the drowned captain here, it has the rare drop of the unlucky doubloon at a 1% chance. If you get yourself an unlucky doubloon, you're in for a very unlucky day because you get to make the Lotus Water Orb. You'll need 8 of these, as well as a half stack of frog coins, 16 total gold lotus, which is pretty expensive all things considered, a regular water orb, and 8 reforged stone cores. Yes, that is indeed what that states. And that makes you the Lotus Water Orb. Now, the Lotus Water Orb can be used for a few things, notably the Lotus Crown, which we'll go over in a minute, and the Barrel of Riches. The Lotus Water Orb plus an enchanted gold block gets you this item, which is a pet item that makes it so trophies have a plus 10% chance more likely to be gold. Heading back over to the bestiary, we can see the Frog Prince. This has a very high chance of dropping the Prince's Crown Jewel. We don't know for certain, but I would be shocked if that wasn't the case. And as you can see, you can use it to make the Lotus Crown. Trophies have a plus 10% chance, more likely to be diamond. Very, very nice. Continuing down the list, we have the Lotus Guardian, which drops the frog coins, which we already went over. The Lotus Fish are just the fish swimming around the atoll. The Puddle Jumper is the rare mob we went over that drops you the Puddle Jumper Trophy Frog. And the Tootle is the Tootle. We already went over that as well. Gorf over here drops the Reforged Stone cores, though, at a 1% chance. And you can see this item right here. And you can use it to make the Lotus Water Orb, as well as this item, the Geometric Oddity. You need a stack of treasure bait, 8 frog coins, 32 ink sacks, and 16 rusty coins, and you can put this on Froggles, Silver Froggles, Golden Froggles, and Diamond Froggles, and it gives you the Geometric Reforge. 3 fishing speed, 3 trophy chance, and the Geometric bonus. You gain a plus 5% chance to catch a bonus trophy while fishing in a wormhole. A more general feature you can see by clicking on Carly in the Backwater Bayou is the Sea Creature Guide changes. Now, if you take a look at your Sea Creature Guide, you get all the information about a mob, notably the spawn chance, the skill requirements. You don't even need to kill the mob once to access the basic info, and this goes for everything in the Sea Creature Guide. Galatea mobs, you can see the Crimson Isle mobs, you can see everything from every single part of the game, including the Lotus Atoll, which is right here, as well as the fishing hotspots. I really do love this feature. They did an excellent job on this. There are also a few other general sea creature related changes. Notably, this is the Inkling. This replaces the Night Squid, I believe, and it drops the Ink Splat, which you can use to make the Hotspot Hook, as well as the Hotspot Water Orb and the Hotspot Tonic Mix-In, which grants you a plus 10% chance to catch hotspot sea creatures while fishing in a hotspot. If you look at fishing as well as lava fishing, we can see the brand new Magma Pillar, as well as, I believe, one other mob. Yes, the Volcanic Snail. The Volcanic Snail has a rare chance to drop the Seared Escargot, and if you look at that, you need it to make the Hotspot Water Orb, as well as the Hotspot Sinker. If you end up killing a Magma Pillar on the Crimson Isle, which comes from the hotspots, you can get a brand new enchantment upgrade. Notably, there's the Magmarizer enchant. This goes up to level 5 normally, but you can bring it up to level 6 if you drop it from the Magma Pillar. Next up, we have a new rare drop from the Titanoboa. These are the Snake Eyes, and they give you 1.1 treasure chance. The Spinosaurus has also been buffed significantly. As you can see right now, it has 70 fishing speed, 12 sea creature chance, and 10 trophy chance. But this is because it has the perk Primordial Fisher now. During rain, increases its pet's base stats and stats gained by perks by 100%. Note that we are on the Bayou, and yes, it can now rain on the Backwater Bayou, which is actually pretty cool. It'll either rain, I think, at 50% chance every single day, and if it doesn't rain for 2 days straight, it will on the 3rd. Note the other two perks of the Spinosaurus are Pursuit, which increases the chance of catching gold tier trophies by 10% normally and 20% during rain, and Sharp Attitude, in which sea creatures spawn with 10%, or now 20%, of their maximum health missing. The base stats without rain would be 35, 6 sea creature chance, and 5 trophy chance. A very, very strong pet. For the rest of this video, we're going to head over to the forums. I do apologize, it's a lot of more technical stuff that's much harder to show off in-game, related to things like fishing speed caps and weights of certain types of sea creatures and drop changes and things like that that are much harder to show off. But going over it, we start off with the general stuff related to the update. Not a lot of new information here. They also go over some questions for testers. Let's move to the other fishing content. They talk about the fact that they've added 5 new sea creatures. Jumpin' Jack, who is a common spooky sea creature, the Inkling, an uncommon water hotspot sea creature, the Manta Ray, an epic water hotspot sea creature, the Volcanic Snail, and the Magma Pillar, the last 2 of which we went over. Jumpin' Jack is actually the Sea Guardian rebranded, and the Inkling was previously the Night Squid. Bestiary progress, etc. will carry over. This change seeks both to give these mobs more purpose and also prevent veterans from having to grind out a new bestiary with no particularly rare drops in an area of the game that they've already completed. I think this is great. They've added the Hotspot Tonic. We already went over this. This gives you the 10% increased chance of getting Hotspot Sea Creatures. It can be crafted using several items from the Hotspot Sea Creatures themselves. We also talked about the Magmarizer and the Tier 6 that comes from the Magma Pillar, as well as Carly, who is in the Backwater Bayou. Next up, we have changes to the Backwater Bayou. They've added rain to the Backwater Bayou. There's a 50% chance for it to rain on any given day, and if it doesn't rain for 2 days, rain is guaranteed on the 3rd. They reduced the fishing speed cap on the Backwater Bayou from 300 to 200, which should make it a lot easier for newer players to get high amounts of fishing speed relative to the cap. This is a great change. Excluding hotspot sea creatures, you may now only fish up Bayou sea creatures while in the Backwater Bayou. They've also added the ability to place hunt traps in the Backwater Bayou. The alligator is 500 weight, and the Titanoboa shard is 100 weight. They've removed the ability to catch Titanoboa with the pocket black hole. Salts can still be used. They've also added the ability to get alligator shards by killing alligators with salts active. They added Luck of the C6 to Junker Joel's shop for 16 rusty coins. They've increased the stats given by the overflowing trash can and added an overflowing bonus of +1 treasure chance while in the Backwater Bayou. They've also adjusted the weights of each Bayou sea creature: 5,000 weight for the Trash Gobbler, 2875 for the Dumpster Diver, 1,500 for the Banshee, 500 for the Bayou Sludge, 100 for the Alligator, 25 for the Titanoboa. They reduced the fishing speed given by the Calcified Reforge. They've adjusted all Bayou Sea Creature stats and drop chances as a result of the Bayou Sea Creature exclusivity, making them more common to catch. So Bayou Sludge went from 1.51 to 5% base catch chance. They're probably nerfing the drop rate, respectively. They've also added a recipe for condensed lily pads to Lily Pad Collection 10, and they've adjusted the Bayou Water Orb recipe, replacing +1 enchanted clay block with 1 condensed lily pad. There are also some pretty big changes to how events work with regard to sea creatures. They adjusted how hotspot sea creatures and event sea creatures like sharks and spooky function. Hotspot sea creatures now have a base 15% chance to replace regular sea creature catches. This can be increased by 5% from the Carnival Shop perk, 10% from the Hotspot Tonic, 20% from the Hotspot Hook, 20% from the Hotspot Bait, and 20% from the Mythic Hermit Crab Pets Hotspot Hazard perk, meaning in total, you have up to a 90% chance to replace a regular sea creature when fishing inside of a fishing hotspot. And they've done similar for sharks and spooky. As you can see, for sharks, they have a 15% base chance to replace regular sea creature catches. This can be improved by the Carnival Shop perk, Shark Bait, shark scale armor in the full set bonus, and the legendary Megalodon Pets Feeding Frenzy perk, meaning you can go up to 80% chance to replace a regular sea creature during fishing festivals. And the same thing for the spooky sea creatures, 5% from the Carnival Shop perk, 20% from Spooky Bait, 20% from the Spooky Hook, 20% from the Mythic Bat Pets Sonar perk. Same deal, 80% chance to replace a regular sea creature during spooky fishing hours. What does this mean? Well, basically, you're able to choose your exact percentages for what you want. So if you want hotspot sea creatures at a 50-50 rate, you can basically do that. If you get the Carnival Shop perk, as well as the Hook, and you have the Hotspot Tonic active, and you have the base 15% chance, you have a total of a 50% chance to get a Hotspot Sea creature, and a 50% chance not to. I like this system. You do have to play a little bit more strategically in terms of what you want to have on when you're doing certain types of fishing, but I think this is really good for the game, and it allows them to expand on these systems more, and you don't have to be on a certain island doing a certain type of fishing because it's the best location to do it. You can kind of just pick your poison, which I do appreciate. They've also adjusted the drop tables, bestiaries, and stats of all hotspot and event sea creatures in accordance with the changes to catching them that are listed above. They also state they will monitor these changes closely. Our rationale behind making them was deal with conditional sea creatures before they became a roadblock in future fishing content, and to give players more choice in where they choose to fish during events, as opposed to trying to seek out the place with the lowest overall weight in the pool, which is just not intuitive at all, and I agree with this. They've adjusted the recipes of the Hotspot Water Orb, the Hotspot Hook, and Hotspot Sinker. We went over this. This is just related to the new items that they've added for the new sea creatures. They've renamed the Phantom Hook to the Spooky Hook, and they've adjusted the weight of several Hotspot and event sea creatures. Jumpin' Jack is 5,000 weight, 2875 for Nurse Shark, Scarecrow, Inkling, and Volcanic Snail, 1,500 for the Blue Shark, Nightmare, Snapping Turtle, and Fireproof Witch, 500 for the Tiger Shark, Werewolf, Manta Ray, and Magma Pillar, 100 for the Great White Shark, Phantom Fisher, Blue Ringed Octopus, and Fiery Scuttler, and 25 weight for the Grim Reaper, Wiki Tiki, and Ragnarok. They've also increased the rarity of Scarecrow from common to uncommon, and Grim Reaper from legendary to mythic. They've also added 40 fishing speed to the Mythic Bat Pets base stats. There are also some other changes here to go over. Bobbin Scriptures is now a 1% drop to all mythic sea creatures. They've changed the amount of silver magma fish that Lord Jobuses and Thunder drop. They've made them more variable. They've removed Luck of the Sea 6 from the Water Hydra loot table, and they've renamed Trophy Fish Chance to Trophy Chance. They've also added Squid Boots as a 1% drop to regular squids, and they've made it so that Agarimu Bestiary has gone from 4,000 down to 1,000. They've also changed how the Carrot King and Agarimu interact with the sea creature pool. Instead of having weight, they have a flat 5 and 15% chance respectively to replace any sea creature catch when the conditions are met. Kinda interesting. I think this will be a little bit easier to understand for people. Overall, my initial impressions of the Lotus Atoll are extremely positive. It seems like this update is going to be a huge breakthrough for fishing, a lot of new content, things overall are just a whole lot better, and trophy frogs are extremely fun to catch. The island is beautiful, there's a lot of unique content here. I think the team, so far anyway, has done a great job. There's definitely some stuff that they need to take some feedback into account for. The update is not perfect, of course, but it is a great step in the right direction for the fishing skill. Wrapping up here, the Lotus Atoll seems to be a very massive update. There was just so much to talk about, from fishing changes to the new trophy frogs to pretty much everything else. Just a lot to go over, so leave all of your thoughts about it down below. I will continue to keep you guys updated on new content as it comes out, and look to the future, fellas. I'll see you then.